You're welcome back to Sahara TV on the season finale. What we're doing this season finale is that we're inviting some of our regular guests who have made the most impression on our viewers, and we're trying to speak to them as we wind down for this season. In line with that, we have invited Brigadier General Muhammad Adeka, formerly of the Nigerian military and currently a PhD candidate. He is going to talk to us about matters security. You're welcome to Sahara TV once again, Brigadier General Adeka.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for your time, sir. First of all, let me ask you a question which has been really pressing over the past few days. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, has given the Nigerian army 3 months to put down Boko Haram. Is this feasible?
Yes, very feasible.
How so, sir?
The Nigerian army that I knew, with the discipline that I knew them, before they became perverted under President Goodluck Jonathan, if we have the necessary political will from President Muhammadu Buhari, which nobody is in doubt from the antics we have seen so far, and if the army were to mobilize fully, by my calculation, after due mobilization, if they commence operation, I believe within 3 weeks, Boko Haram will be in disarray. What will then remain for the rest of the month is skirmishes, since terrorist warfare is not a thing you can just finish and go, because some of them will disappear and come into town. Then the skirmishing will take up to the 3 months. Otherwise, if the army is fully mobilized in 3 weeks,
wow. So you are cutting down the time actually from 3 months to 3 weeks, but you think that the rest of the time will be used to mop up pockets of skirmishes that will arise from Boko Haram's being flustered?
Yes, I take note. I have divided the time into 3. The first, the time that they will need to mobilize. Now, it depends on the infrastructure on the ground. If this infrastructure is sufficient to enable them to mobilize within 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or 1 month, then after the full mobilization, the main operation will take about 3 weeks. Then after that, there will still be requirement for time to move on.
Okay, but in trying to achieve that, though, one major setback that Nigeria seems to face is what's called the Leahy Law here in the U.S. The Leahy Law prevents the government of the United States from selling arms to a country that has a poor human rights record. Nigeria, unfortunately, is falling victim to that. President Buhari says that is a disincentive and it's actually aiding and abetting Boko Haram. What's your take on this?
Well, I don't know what President Buhari said exactly. I am sure President Buhari is a tested general. I'm not seeing too much of an issue there because Nigeria remains a non-aligned country. During the Civil War, General Yakubu Gowon, who was a secondarian, and you are aware some world powers were aiding the Biafran then. So it was left for General Gowon to know where to go and get the arms from. If we are complaining that we cannot tackle Boko Haram because the United States alone have refused to sell arms to us, what of the Boko Haram terrorists? Where do they get their arms from? So we should not create an impression that the Boko Haram terrorists and their sponsors are more resourceful than the Nigerian state.
That's very well stated, even though we also know that Boko Haram gets weapons from all sorts of sources, unconventional as they may be. And then they also produce their own, crude as they may be, weapons which they use on the innocent people of Nigeria. But moving forward, sir, let's look at Boko Haram a bit more. They just announced a few days ago that there's a new leader for Boko Haram. Does this give you any indication?
I think about 3 or 4 days ago, when I heard the announcement from the Mr. Idris Deby of charge, then he didn't tell us what happened to Imam Shekau. But a few days later, I saw a WhatsApp video message which claimed to present the corpse of Imam Shekau. And from what I had watched in the video of the various presentation by Abubakar Shekau, that body resembled him very much. So I'm suspecting that Idris Deby might already have known that Abubakar Shekau is no more.
You think Shekau is dead?
It is very possible.
But yes, we've also heard that the new leader seems to be a bit more reasonable, so to speak. He's a bit more prone to discourse. Do you think so? You think that the Boko Haram is possibly finding a piping down technique to bring a closure to the struggle?
Yes, the Boko Haram too are human beings. They are not angels, neither are they spirits. They should know the show of force that is already on the ground. President Buhari has gone around all the contiguous countries in Nigeria, and the messages from all those presidents were very clear. You could hear from the Cameroonian president that former President Goodluck Jonathan was not cooperating with him, that he never called him once, and whenever he called him, he would not pick the call, neither will he return the call. Now, if you saw the reception accorded President Buhari during the visits, and you are also aware that America is taking steps to sell those same arms that we are talking about to Nigeria, I think if the Boko Haram terrorists are not fools, they show that the game is off.
But it has pretty much been like that over the years, hasn't it? Boko Haram has been under quite an, a bit of pressure, but they still have stood their grounds and continue to do what they've done.
No, it is not true. It is not true because what used to happen was Boko Haram, for example, one the multinational joint task force right now. That outfit is not new. They had been there for years. Now, within this period of President Goodluck Jonathan's tenure, most of the contiguous countries, all of them, have performed with all their contingents. So they have actually complained, if you follow the media, that area cannot be cooperating.
Okay, all right. Let's move the discourse forward a bit, sir. Let's move away from Boko Haram for even a minute. Nigeria has other security challenges. Some may be covered, others may be overt. But Radio Biafra, let's talk about Radio Biafra for a second. Radio Biafra has been putting out messages that a lot of Nigerians find subversive. They're actually openly calling for secession from the rest of the federation. Do you think Nigerians should take Radio Biafra seriously? Do you think that the army, for instance, should be paying attention to what's going on with Radio Biafra?
Well, you have a change of guard recently for the armed forces. If you read my first 61-page document, which I titled Nigeria at Crossroads, you will have seen somewhere that the former chief of defense staff, that is last chief of defense staff but one, Admiral Olasad Ibrahim, told me point blank on the 13th of November 2013 in his office that I should not expect promotion because I was doing research and the Nigerian military didn't need research. Now, that is an attitude that negatively contributes to performance. Now, we have a new chief of defense staff whom I'm very sure knows what to do. He's a signal officer, and what Radio Biafra is doing is just somebody with one transmitter, which is probably mobile, which may be in Nigeria, which may be in the neighboring country, which may be far away. As a signal officer, the new CDS will be able to engineer a system that if we cannot get the Kalu man to destroy him and his transmitters, we should be able to jam him effectively and render him ineffective.
Okay, so Nigeria, finally, General, Nigeria is a major force in African affairs, especially when it comes to issues of military significance. However, lately, it seems as if Nigeria is ceding some of that supremacy to other countries. And I'm thinking of an example where Chad and Cameroon, for instance, seem to be almost leading the pack with the fight against Boko Haram. What state is the Nigerian military in right now?
Yeah, but you have been following events as well. The Nigerian military that we knew was not the one that Chad will come to help. I recall in the early 80s, 82, 83, or thereabouts, when the Chadian elements moved across the boundary to Nigeria with the intention to capture some of our border areas. This same President Muhammadu Buhari was the GOC, and General Officer commanding 3 divisions in the Jos. And it was in the democracy under President Shagari. So he moved across the border, and within a few days, N'Djamena was on the verge of collapse. AU had to step in to create room for negotiation. Now we are having a Nigeria where we couldn't pay salary. The last president handed over when Nigeria could not pay salary. As we are talking, many states are owing salary arrears for months, some up to 8 months. So if you don't have the resources, or if the resources are mismanaged deliberately, or they are converted to personal property, or there is just lack of political will for other ulterior motives, this is the kind of thing you get.
Thank you so much, General Muhammad Adeka. Before I let you go, though, finally, I know I said finally, but if you indulge me on the very last question, what should President Muhammadu Buhari's policy look like in terms of defense, especially also regarding a force like ECOMOG, the Nigerian military's contribution to the regional force? What should it look like?
Please, can you take the question again?
I'm asking what President Buhari's defense policy should look like, taking into consideration Nigeria's contribution to the regional forces like the ECOMOG and so on.
Well, the Nigerian armed forces are created to defend the country against both internal and external aggression, particularly what affects our territorial integrity. But because of the internal weaknesses, Nigerian Army has been doing the job of the police. So I think the policy should be such that the national security agencies, the police, the SSS, and the NIA should be properly equipped and trained to carry out their constitutional duties so that the army can concentrate on its primary role, both within and outside Nigeria.
We really appreciate your time, Brigadier General.
I will give me some few minutes for me to make a comment.
Please go ahead.
You remember I had the last interview with you on the 14th of February, 2015. And that was, Nigeria was supposed to have an election, then the service chiefs postponed the election, which the president has blocked. Because of that interview that I granted, and based on the document, forces one document that I wrote, some misguided, criminally minded generals have written illegally to the TTDS to cancel my scholarship. 2 correspondences are involved. Of course, the generals are from Adeka, General Wiwa, and the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Minima. Wiwa initiated a fraud, which we call the security report. And then, at the instance of that report, in tandem with the former Chief of Army Staff, Major General Okulola asked to send the document to the cancel my scholarship. But the scholarship has been cancelled as we are. And unfortunately, they have not responded to my write-up. they are creating an impression that I am a whistleblower. I'm not a whistleblower. They created wrong impression that I accuse the Nigerian army. Let it be very clear for the record. If you check my document, I never accused the Nigerian army of creating Boko Haram. I accused President Goodluck Jonathan and the presidency of Boko Haram.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if you check paragraph 27A of Nigeria at Crossroads, Nigerian army is the first victim and target of the plot to destroy Nigeria.
Brigadier General, our time is fast spent. We would really love to pick up on that story. So we will definitely speak to you off air and have a fuller interview, give you more time to express that concern. But I believe that at this point, you definitely have opened a can that our viewers will be interested in looking into. Thank you so much for your time, Brigadier General Adeka.
And that's what, sir, is that regardless of whatever the present service chiefs are going to do, they are not going to perform magic or miracle. There are identified Boko Haram sponsors. If we don't chase them, the war against Boko Haram is going to be very costly for Nigeria. Those identified sponsors who have been sponsoring terrorism from time, and in the case of stealing arms from Nigerian military barracks.
Yeah, we do have to leave it there, Brigadier General. Thank you so much for your time. This has been Brigadier General Muhammad Adeka, a former general with the Brigadier General, that is, with the Nigerian military and a PhD candidate. You're still on SaharaTV. Stay tuned. There's more coming.